It's not Bot Ringer Live. I've been watching Bot Ringer the last couple of days, actually. He's been making me laugh. It's a channel that, for some reason, YouTube has decided to hide from me. But I come across, for some reason, I fell across an old video, and suddenly it's serving them all up again. But yeah, I've been watching a lot. I think I've watched about 8 of his videos today, and I'm on his subscriber list. I just don't know why it's not serving his videos up. Anyway, good evening. Hello, everyone. It's Sunday night. It's time to do another live stream. Hopefully this is working. I'm assuming it is, as I started straight in there with Bruce's comment. Good evening, Chipperoo. How are you? Good evening, Bruce, obviously. Saw your video about your scan the other day, my friend. I hope you're okay. Hello, Jasper. Hello, old guy in a drone. Herblove, I have replied to your message. Sadly, no. Just to get that out of the way, there is no way of getting audio from the system at the moment. It is one of the most requested features from the DJI FPV system. However, yeah, it's not available. Sorry, Bruce. It's all of his family-friendly content. I do laugh. I do chuckle at, yeah, right up my street. Let's just say that, both the language and the the content. The boy can fly as well, that's for sure. But I do laugh. I do laugh. I think the video I come across with his landing video, I was looking for something else, and I come across his landing video, and it just made me chuckle. It really did make me chuckle, and I did take something from him, actually, and I took about just reducing the angle a little bit, because I think I've been pushing it a bit high the last couple of flights as well. Good evening, Catman FPV. I hope you are safe and well. So it is Sunday night again, guys. It is that time of the week. Let me put the chat up as well so you guys can see that. Let's put that one up. If you've got any questions, please do let me know. Hola, off-grid in the Prescott National Forest. Oh, we're going to talk a little bit about grid and off-grid, and actually PV tonight, because I got some stuff I can show you guys a little bit, which will be coming up in some videos, but I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek. Now, it's been a really interesting week, actually. A really interesting week for many, many reasons. Well, Happy today ripped 30 packs. I could only go 3. Now, I have a problem. I've run out of lipos. I've had a few fail, as you guys have seen, and I'm down to 3 packs I'm happy with, and I can't buy any. There are no lipos anywhere in the UK. I just can't find them anywhere. 30, I'm down to 3. I'm on 10% of what you've got. I had about, I always sort of cycle around 12, 10, 12. And what I've missed is, over the last couple of months, I've been killing them here and there and not replacing them. And suddenly, when I'm looking in the lipo box, I'm going, hold on a minute. Where are all my batteries? And I'm down to, 3 good packs. I got about 6 I can use, but there's 3 good packs. And one of them isn't necessarily good, because it gave out on me earlier. But yeah, there's just no lipos available in the UK anyway. Massive shortage of batteries. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. I've been out flying today. I've been flying this thing today. Double checking everything's okay with it, which it is. This is the one that decided to try and kill me, if the one we were talking about. Not really ripping, just on some field tests. I also almost lost it in a test of Betaflight's GPS rescue. I'm really not sure where they were heading to. It came back and then sort of went away again, which I'm not really sure what that's all about. It was on my last battery, and I thought I'll give it a try just to make sure it's working. And yeah, I wasn't too impressed with that one, to say the least. I've got a cold drink tonight because it's quite warm here. So tonight we're going to talk a bit about this, and I will talk a little bit about the video that went out a couple of days ago, because there is a little bit of news on that, and there was a second video that was meant to go live. However, I've held it back a minute on purpose, to talk a little, to show a couple of other things, but also I need to edit it as well again, because some things have actually slightly changed since then. So I need to have a look at that. We're going to talk a little bit about the new FPV View, or the Dji View app from D3, the guys over at the D3VL, because their app has now hit the App Store, and it's actually working now on my Android tablet as well. So we have proper FPV output from the DJI FPV system, the version 1, which is that one, without spending an absolute fortune on a smart controller. We're going to talk a little bit about the new Gh5 Mark II for those who like cameras, because I am a big camera guy. I have a Gh5. It's that's what you're looking at right now, is the Gh5. I'm going to talk a little bit about my ATEM, and I will talk about my mic as well, which I managed to drown. I managed to wash the Lavia Go. Now, I didn't actually wash the whole unit, Bruce. It was only the lav I washed. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. I see we got D3 in there. Hello, guys. How are you? I was talking to them earlier. And we're going to walk through that app, and I am going to put a dedicated video out on that in the week. I know Andy's done it, so, you know, there's almost no point, because the great Andy has done it. We all love Andy. He's got, you know, he's got a proper channel, not like this one. But we may as well do it as well. Now, as we go along, guys, if there are any questions, do let me know in the comments. I'm just checking in. We're up to 38. So I suppose I should address the more interesting aspect of the week for me, as well as I expect another company, which was this. That video that I put out on Tuesday. Now, this one has been quite interesting, because it's not only had quite the response from users, but it's also got quite the response elsewhere as well. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit about why I made these videos, why I made the video, and what the issue is. And this is where the second video comes in, actually, because the second video walks you through the issue, why I've said don't buy, and where we're at today. Because I can't go into details, but all I can say is we've had contact. That's the right term to use. Okay. So, oh, I'm not sharing my desktop. It's no good me showing you the video when you can't see it. This one here, this video here. So, this is the one that went out a couple of days ago, and it is FPV Goggles version 2. Do not buy. Now, this has had quite the response from users, this video. If we look, it's had, what are we up to now? 10,000 views. I think it's 460 thumbs. It was over, I think it must be heading for 254 comments. So it's certainly, I've got an ad up, like I can't take it through. We need to get past the advert. Let's just do that a second so we can actually see it. Now, just to explain this reason for this video. Okay. Since the release of the version 2 goggles, not the version 1s, there has been a number of issues. The first issue was people weren't able to activate them because they were arriving in FPV Drone Mode. The second issue was people not being able to switch to FPV Air Unit Mode. And then last week, we started to see a new issue come to light. And that issue is, under a certain set of circumstances, the V2s can reset themselves back to the FPV drone mode. Now, this certain set of circumstances is either the goggles enter a low power state, where the battery level reaches about 5.2 volts. Now, I have extensively bench tested this and done it at least 30 times now on the bench. And the goggles enter this frankly horrible recycling behavior, and I'm going to show you a video of that, and this is the video that's going to go live later in the week. And they enter this horrible behavior where there isn't enough power to run, but they won't shut down, and they just go around in a loop. The term I used to someone the other day is, if they could scream, they would be. The regulators inside are at basically minimum voltage to operate. They're trying to kick in. So if you were to use them with a traditional LiPo and the battery got down to about 5.2 volts, okay, yes, that's well below what you would expect it to be. But if it did get down to that level, they would enter this cycle and then reboot themselves back into FPV drone mode. The second set of circumstances that can also cause this is intermittent power. So power flickering on and off with the goggles, whether it be a loose barrel connector, like on the goggles up here, or a loose LiPo connection or battery connection, which is fairly normal to happen. You know, it's not unusual. It's unusual, but it's not impossible is probably the term to use. So in one of these two sets of circumstances, the goggles can reset back to Fpv drone mode. Now, for probably a chunk of users, that's not a problem, because when they switch back, the option is still there to go back into FPV. But for a fair portion of people, that option isn't there. And I've actually been able to test this myself today even more on the bench, and you're then left stuck in FPV mode. Now, FPV drone mode. Now, the reason I made that video and said, you know what, I can't recommend this, is because it's not the fact the goggles reset. I don't really care about that. It's an annoyance, but it is what it is. The issue is we have a situation where the goggles reset and get stuck in a mode the user can't get out of unless they own the FPV drone. And people are then left in one of two issues. They either have to go and find someone with an FPV drone, bind the goggles, then the option will come up, or you have to return them for repair. And that was the point I decided it wasn't something I was happy with and wasn't something I was happy recommended, because the point someone is left with a product that just won't work because it resets is madness. And that was the reason I decided to go enough is enough and going to make this video, because a lot more comments were coming up over the last 7 days of these goggles resetting. Now, there's been a huge amount of feedback on this video. If I go down to the comments, there's loads of people saying, I'm not having problems, mine's activated fine. The initial activation problem has somewhat been resolved for most people. Not everyone, but most. But the real issue here is everyone with a set of V2s has the potential to reset back into FPV drone mode and get stuck. And that is the issue. It's not that they've done it yet, but they have the potential. And that was where my problem was. So in the end, I sat back and thought, right, it's been 2 or 3 months. This new issue has only come to light over the last week or two. There was like 4 guys on RC groups who've been stuck. There's guys on our DJI forum. There's guys on Facebook. And it was at the stage where I've said, well, look, what can we do? If you're someone that reviews this stuff and talks about this stuff, you can recommend a product that works. But there is always that point where you have to go, I'm not happy to recommend this now because it's going to cause too many problems for users. And that was the reason I made the video. It's as simple as that. It was not that now was the right time to make it, or in the sense of the affiliate scheme is ended, because there's been a couple of comments about I've only made this now because the affiliate scheme is ended. This video would have been made regardless. And just to put a piece of facts out there, okay, I have had more income from that video via advertising revenue than I have had on all V2 goggles sales. So if we're going to argue that I wouldn't have made it if the affiliate scheme was instead, it pays to make the video more than it didn't. But that doesn't matter. That isn't the reason I made it. But just to throw that argument out there, that's the madness of the situation. So I wanted to get that clear. So the situation is we have a set of goggles that have the potential to reset and the users can't use them. So I made the video. Let me just get the right screen up in front of me. I made the video, put it out there. It had a huge reaction from people. And it had a huge reaction in the background as well. And I'm not going to go into details because it's unfair right now, because I have, you know, when I do work with companies, I do try to be open and honest. What I can say to you guys is this. The message has been received. It's been understood. It's been acknowledged. It's been taken on board. And hopefully there is a way I'll be able to take this video down in the near future. Now, I'm more than happy to take this video down when this problem goes away. Or when I've got an issue. I'm even happy to take it down when I know what's happening exactly. Because, look, this isn't about the DJI system being bad. It's still the best system there is. But the V2 goggles have this problem that makes them unusable for some users, and it's just not fair to recommend that. So for me, this was about highlighting an issue which, in my opinion, makes them not worth buying at this moment in time, and that's why I recommended the Fat Shark, not Fat Shark. Now, it's certainly it's interesting, the response from all sides on this one. But look, there's some very good people. I'm really appreciative of some of the contact I've had in the background. They're great people. Hopefully we can get this fixed and get this all dealt with in the very near future. Now, people have asked about what about all of the other issues and stuff like that. I honestly don't know. For me at the moment, a fundamental one is this problem with them resetting. You know, I don't care that they reset. I've said this more than once. The fact they reset is completely irrelevant. Okay? It's the fact you can't get back. All they need to do is confirm that auto powers off, safe minimum threshold. I am shocked that they don't. Honestly, the behavior is frankly horrible. And I'm going to put the video up to show you in a minute. And it isn't good. You look at it and go, ooh, that's not pretty. That's not pretty at all. Hopefully, the main fix here is the ability to switch modes regardless of owning the drone. That's the main problem. As long as that option is fixed, that's the big one we're looking for. Now, what we're going to do is let me just find the video. Let me just find the bit of the video I want to show you, because this is just to show you how it behaves when it does this. Now, let me just put the desktop up. I'll share this properly. Now, I've got this video is made. This other video on this is all done and dusted, ready to go. And what I actually do is this is here. So what I'm going to do is do this and go full screen and show you guys what actually happens. So let me just go full. Oh, let me mute it. Now, I can't see the chat right now, guys, so I'm gonna assume this is working okay. And I'm going to hit play. Now, what you can see here is I'm reducing the voltage down. The goggles are on, and we're reducing it down to that key period of 5.2, 5.15 volts, and the goggles have now reset. Okay, so they've now gone into this blue screen reset. You can see them flickering. Now, at this point, I'm doing nothing but leaving the goggles run. In the audio, you can actually hear the fans running. And what you'll see is the goggles now go black and then reboot. You had a flicker of a DJI logo there for a second. And then we'll wait again. And some of the screens that come up on this are horrible. You'll see what I mean in a minute. The first one is quite a long pause. It then comes up to this strange greenish display. And we'll let it reboot again. You can see it flicks off. And when it's doing this, honestly, the sound... Oh, there's another one. Look. There's the coloured lines on the display. It reboots again. Reboots about every 2 to 4 seconds. There's another one with the DJI logo. That one is horrible. Genuinely horrible. And then... I can't remember, did I let it reboot again, or did I power it down and power it back up? You saw it reboot, power back up again. And then what we'll do is I'll let this play and you'll see it power back on, because all I do at this point in a moment is unplug the power connector, put the voltage back up to like 7.8 volts and put them back on. So as if you've changed the battery for a fresh battery. And I think it's this one. Yeah, because the logo's staying. And then you will see that they've rebooted into the Fpv Drone Mode. So that is the issue there. Now let me come back to the chat. So that is the overall behavior. It isn't pretty. It isn't nice. As I said, if the goggles could scream, they would. They really would, because it's and the sound they make as well isn't good. And you can't just swap back. Now, Nicola, I can because I own the FPV drone. Most users cannot. Now, just to explain that element, if the V2 goggles are bound to a set of an FPV drone, it will show you the option. However, if the goggles have never been bound to it or connected, binded, whatever the term is, the option may not show. It does for some people, it doesn't for others. There's no rule here. The polling for that option to swap back and forth is all over the place. Some people have it, some people don't. Just to give you an idea, if I reset my version 2 goggles, power them down, power them back on, factory reset them, power them down and power them back on, I also don't have the option to switch back. So that's what the issue is. Now, it's easy to say, well, you shouldn't be letting the LiPo go flat. So did you have to activate? No activation. Activation remains, but they just hop into the FPV mode without the option to switch back. Now, hopefully, it's going to be a nice, easy fix, because the annoyance with this is it happens to some people and they have the option to switch back, but not everyone. Now, for me, when mine reset, I have the option to switch back because they're still bound to my FPV drone. You simply need to connect them to the FPV drone. It doesn't need to be activated. It doesn't need... there's no menu there. The menu is missing. The option for switching to FPV mode isn't there at all. I can actually show you that there are many people, the option is just not there. When you go to the bottom of the list, it's just not there. They're activated. You can use, there's no restriction on the menus. They're just in FPV drone mode with no option to switch back. So, all of the menus work, but in FPV drone mode. And that actual option is not there. Now, the second you connect the goggles to the FPV drone, the option appears instantly. Boom. So this is the reason. So this is the issue. This was the reason for the video. This was the reason I got to the point of saying enough is enough. Something needs to be done about this now. Or I can't recommend them. It's that simple, because you could, does that happen if you look before you rebind it, CJ? Does that happen if you look before you rebind to DJ FPV? Does that happen? So if you've never bound them to the FPV drone and they reset into the FPV drone mode, you may not have the option at all to switch back. So the only way to get that option back is to either send the goggles to DJI or connect it to an FPV drone. If you know someone with the FPV drone, it's fine. You can just bind the goggles, the menu will appear, you're all done. Happy days. But that means you have to know someone with the FPV drone. If you have the FPV drone, it's not a problem. Regardless, yeah, exactly. That's the issue. The option, okay, the low power behavior is frankly horrible. That needs to be better, to be honest. Now, I know why it's like this, actually. And I tell you something I haven't done is had a look at what these do in that situation. I think it's there because DJI monitor their power via their battery. So I think the battery they supply with the V2s will turn off before it ever gets to that point. So with this battery, it's not going to do it in low power, I don't believe, but it could still do it with the intermittent connection. But the issue is when people are using them with their own LiPo, and the chances are FPV users are far more likely to be using it with their own LiPo. Now, that is on the latest firmware, Nick. I don't know about olders. I can't comment on what its behavior is on the oldest ones. I just don't know. It's definitely the behavior on the new ones, on the current ones. So that was the reason for the video. That was the reason for me making it. As I've said, there has been... clouds might brick them. You got the drone, Bruce. You should be all right, haven't you? There has been some contact, and I'm hoping to be able to share with you guys something, because I also want to say this: the contact's been absolutely fantastic. There's no malice. There's no "what the hell are you doing" or anything like that. It's very much been we understand what you're saying. Leave it with us. as an unmanned aerial tech and get them activated. Yeah, and that's all part of that sort of... It's all related. This is all part of that same thing. It all needs tidying up. This whole activation, switching mode thing, it all needs to be done a bit better. So I'm expecting there to be a little bit of news in the near future. Give it a month. That's all I'll say. Within a month. So that was the reason I made the video. There is a second video to come on this, but I've held it back because it doesn't reflect today's situation. It was made before messages and phones and stuff. I've had a few people. Yeah, it's a mess. So that's the reason for it. The video would have gone out regardless. Good evening, David. How are you doing? Hope you're safe and well. The video will get taken down when the issue is resolved. I'm not leaving it up. There's no point leaving it up once the issue is fixed. Okay? Or I know for a fact the issue fix is coming. Okay? I will also pull it at that point as well because I'm not wanting to leave it there any longer than it needs to. This isn't about kicking them for the sake of kicking them. You know, I have a good relationship with certain people there, but, you know, if all goes well, I think we're going to get a great result on this. So we'll say there. We'll say that. So that was the reason for it. The other video will probably come out in a couple of days. Any chance getting into it? I don't know on anything else. I can't comment on, you know, some stuff was discussed, but I can't comment on a lot of the other stuff. It's not down to me, you know. It's that. So that's the situation. So staying on FPV goggles, I'm going to have a drink first. And whilst we've got D3VL in the video, we're going to talk about the app because the LiveView app has now gone on the Play Store and it works with my tablet as well. Because the beta wouldn't work with my, or the alpha actually, wouldn't work with my tablet. So it now works with my tablet. I'm now able to, I had to change a setting, which we'll take a look at in a minute, but we now have a proper option for live FPV from the FPV goggles version 1. I'm assuming, and version 2. I haven't actually tried them on the version 2s. I'm assuming they work on the version 2s in FPV mode. I don't use my V2s in the FPV mode. I use the V1s. I'm lucky to be in the position of having both. So, it's I assume it does, but yeah, you know, it's so what we're going to do now is have a quick look at it because it works and it saves £600. Look, it's really interesting how this is developed because you've got these guys who've come out of nowhere, released a hack or released a way of getting the FPV drone into FCC mode. Now they've come along with this DigiView app. So, you know, they're really pushing some interesting stuff along. I've been around the hacking community around DJ drones for a long time. You know, there's been the original Slack groups. There's been the OGs. There's been KF. You know, I've been around all of these guys on and off for a long time. I've always been sort of there in the background, listening in and seeing what's happening. You know, I was aware of what was happening with drone hacks and all of the others and the multiple things with that. But these guys have come along and they've released a free FCC hack, which I'm going to be completely honest about. I was very skeptical on day one. Very, very skeptical because you've got... I'm not against paying for these things, okay? I'll put that out there first of all. I have no issues paying for hacks to help develop more in the future. You know, buying software, whether it be to do good things or bad things, is irrelevant. Sometimes you've got to support the devs that do it. So I've got no issues with companies that charge for hacks and companies that don't. You know, I understand, you know, we all are material girls in a material world. So, but what's really interesting is we first of all had the FPV drone hack, which is really good. You know, that is a godsend. And now we've got this live app. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop on and show. So what I got, these are the V1s with the iFlight Crystal. I've been using this. I've had this sitting here for a couple of while, and I've put it on and off a couple of sets of goggles, but I've left this on now. This really is a good bit of kit. I will say that. I will say that. So what we're going to do is... You certainly are. You certainly are. You certainly are. What have I said? What have I said now? That's great to hear. So surely do. Catching up. By the way, guys, if you've got any questions, please do put them in the comments. Spirits. You certainly have material to material world. Yes. So just catching up. Live streamed it yesterday. That's cool. Okay, we need to go check that out. We need to go check that out. So what we're going to do first of all is you can now get the app. Let me just move this. And if I'm right, we've got an overhead camera working. So let me go. Woo! Hey, we got the overhead. So we're going to turn the tablet on. Let me log in. And if we go to the Play Store, first of all, the app is now available on the Play Store. So if you search for it, what you're searching for is DigiView. And the app you're looking for is this one here. Let me just check the focus on this. Is that actually right? I think what we'll do is we'll come in a little bit more and then press that. Come over a little bit. You can see then. That's better. Look. See what we're doing then? Of course I got an RGB keyboard, Bruce. Do you think I am? Do you think I'm not going to have an RGB keyboard, Bruce? I can turn the lights off as well. It was a Christmas present from my wife. So, it's called DigiView. It's available to download. It was updated on the 23rd of May. Beta release is finally here. Free to buy. To get. Download it. You got it. Once it's installed, it's over here. So, what we're going to do first of all is power everything up. So, I'm going to power the drone up. Risking it, doing it with props on in the workshop. It's never a good thought, is it? We're going to power the goggles. We want... Now, what you want to do is, when you do this, make sure, number one, that let it all connect first. Make sure that it's all connected. You want to be in 25 megabits mode, and you want to not be recording, basically. I need to leave a rating. I'll leave a rating in a minute. So what we're going to do is just make sure this is all fired up. We're just waiting for them to boot. 50 meg works too, does it? I know there was some problems with it. Cool. Okay, I took it out into 25 megs, so 50 does work. So, and then I've got a USB to USB-C cable for me because my tablet is USB-C. So all I've got is, I'm not using an OTG. I'm simply using USB-C to USB-C, but you might need an OTG adapter depending on your device and your setup. We're going to plug it into the side of the tablet. Where is it? It's actually on the top of this thing. And then when we plug it in, the app opens up and it says waiting for video. We're going to give it a second. Boom. Is it actually done it this time? Let's just have a look. Oh, is it froze? I might need to change the settings again. Let's have a look. We're still live on that end. Hey, there we go. Kicked in now. And that's it. It really is that simple. Now, for me, I ended up, just so you know, there are some settings. When you tap the screen, there's a settings. And I ended up having to choose Video Preset Legacy to get it to work on this tablet. Not sure why. Probably D3 can tell me. Can try aggressive. Let's see if it actually works. I didn't try aggressive. Oh, it's working on that now. There you go. It wasn't working on the default for me earlier, but it did start working when I did it on the other one. So now you can see we've got full live. Now, just so you can see the latency. Now, the latency will vary on device, okay? This isn't about flying yourself as much on it. It's more about, you know, giving you spectator view. But if we, you know, you can see my finger there. There's a touch, but that's nothing for having someone viewing next to you. Yeah, absolutely fine. I got no issue with that whatsoever. And it's always worth remembering, there is latency. I can look at that camera now. There is latency when doing this with the smart controller as well. There is always... there's always a little bit. There's always a little bit of latency there. Interesting if the alpha didn't work with Legacy is. Same alpha. Yeah, it's weird because when I fired it up earlier, I couldn't get it to work in normal. And I went to Legacy and it worked. But it wouldn't work at all on the alpha for me. Very strange. No more than using a GoPro. No, absolutely not. No more than normal. You know, it's absolutely fine. So yeah, and it's that easy. That's it. Yeah, we've got live view. You can go into the settings. The only thing I will say, and I don't know if it's intentional, and it might be on my tablet, I can't get out of the app when I'm on it full screen. What I've got to do is go into the menu, and then I get my Android buttons along the bottom. That might be intentional, though. But what's nice is you can't accidentally close it, look. It sits there. So, but yeah, swipe. See? They've thought of everything. They've thought of everything. And then it goes to FPV mode. So, that's it. It's that easy. You know, we now have live video out from the DJI FPV system without buying the smart controller in a way that works for most people. Now, this is Android only for iOS users. Sorry, you need Android. That's the way it is. That's just the way it is. Sorry, but I'm an iOS user, but you should still have an Android tablet. So, yeah, you know, and if we want to go into the settings, so the screen is well dirty on this tablet. I got the privacy settings. Now, I've chosen to share the data with the developers to help them improve it in the future. We've got the video player full screen. Show the DigiView watermark. Links to their website, the Discord server. And it's as simple as that. You know, what more can you ask for, guys? What more can you ask for? Come back out, wait for the video to kick in. Boom. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into 50 megabits mode. There we go. We're in 50 megs. Oh, there it is. Sorted. It's just to show in 50. Yeah, exactly the same amount of latency. Can you stream online? So, yeah, you can then stream it. This is where it breaks. Oh, look! It's crashed. That could be my tablet, mind. Or were you expecting that, D3? Were you expecting that to happen? We're back. We're back. It's not a crash, it's a feature. Yeah, exactly. It's either that crashing or me crashing. It's usually one of the two. So, you know, guys, it doesn't like 50 megs mode on my tablet. Look, this is a beta still, so take that into account. It's only done that. And I've also got this on aggressive, so let me take it off aggressive. That might be the reason as well. So let's just wait for it to kick. Go into the settings, video performance. Let's go to conservative and see if it's any better on that. Soldier devices will struggle with it. Yeah, look, like anything, this is HD video. At the end of the day, it's going to have an effect. What this is, though, is free. And this is the thing, guys. This is just, compared to what we've had, this is much better than anything we've had before. See if we go back to Legacy, does it kick in? Interestingly, because it didn't work on Legacy before. Now, it's going to be different on every device as well, okay? So it's not going to be the same on every tablet. You're always going to have differences depending on what tablet you're using. Let me go back into 25. And let's go to aggressive. I may end up having to reboot the goggles now. Feel free, I demand a discount. There's always the possibility of needing to do a reboot once you sort of get a crash like this. It's low temp off. Oh, that's a good point, actually. Ah, yeah, low power mode's kicked in. That's what it is. Oh, yeah, and I'm at 1200 watts. I forgot about that. Not that I was flying with 1200 watts. Wasn't doing that. Should we try again? I forgot about that. I've been flying today as well. So, hey, we're back. Should we go back into 50? Let's go to 50. I think we're still in legacy mode as well. Let me just come out of that. Let's go. Oh no, we're in aggressive. Good. There we go. We're in. There you go. We're back. We're back. Low power mode. Low power mode. That was the cause. My fault. I forgot about that because I shoved. Oh no, no. Watch the lipo explode. Yeah, it's struggling aggressive. It's going to be different on every tablet, guys. That's the thing to understand, right? We've got a conservative. Let's see how it is in that. See how it is in conservative. Looks a little bit better now. So, look, it's available. It's free. Now, let me go there. Whilst it is free, please do consider, let me find the website, supporting the dev team on this. Because, as I've said, we're all material girls in a material world. And, you know, there's a lot of time and effort has gone into this. So please do consider supporting the developers. I'm just trying to find the part on the website where you guys can do this. So if you go on the Beyond 3D website, they've got the Unlock My Drone Now, which is the FCC unlock. And they've also got the FCC app for the DJI FPV drone. So don't forget that. And then you can go down here and you can do buy me a coffee. So please do consider doing that. This is for free. At the end of the day, we also have an open collective account. Cool. Do you put a link to it in the chat? I'll stick it up now as well. If we can, you know, at the end of the day, right, we wouldn't have this feature without these guys' work. So please do consider supporting them if you use it. I will be myself. I haven't done it yet, hand on heart, but I will be doing it myself later. So yeah, please do consider, because at the end of the day, guys, we wouldn't have this without them. It's still there, still working in the background. Look. Still doing its thing. Oh, he needs to be admin to post a link. Oh god, wait there. There you go. Problem solved. You should be able to post it now, mate. I've added it now. What about videoing on the goggles? Oh, God, let me power that down. Okay. Let me make sure what screen am I on. You're losing track. We'll put that back up. Okay, video in at the moment. The only way for video in is the analog input, the same as before. You can still use the analog input, but there's no digital video in. So you've still got the old analog, which can take a module bay if you get the modified faceplate. I have added him as a mod, so he should now be able to post the link. But he's put it in the Discord. Let me find it in the Discord. YouTube is still filtering it. I'll find it now. Here we go. I've got it. It may filter it from me as well. There we go, guys. I've put a link there for you. And what I'm going to do is put that up on the display. And here it is here. So it's opencollective.com/FPV out. Also a link to it there. Yes, it does. So guys, please, you know, what we've got is a donate button. We can do contribution, recurring. You've got the £5 a month, make a one-time custom. Yeah, so please do. At the end of the day, if you're going to use this, please do support them. Let's see what else they can come up with in the future. They've done some great work with this. They really, really have. So please do. Please do. Yeah, analog and DJ College is kind of defeating the purpose. Yes, it is. It is a shame there's no HDMI input like on the big white goggles, but then there's always a limitation on this stuff. You know, if you look at what Fat Shark have been saying, let me just get my screens right here. Fat Shark, for those who might have seen my video, I talked about what Fat Shark are doing, and they've got some updates, and they're making a new set of HD goggles with SharkBite built in. And they asked the question, do you want HDMI in or HDMI out? And the majority have come back and said HDMI out. So even the new Fat Sharks are only going to have HDMI out. If you want something with HDMI in, it's got to be something like the HDO2s, things like that. it's going to be weird to see, or interesting, not weird, interesting to see where they go with these new set of goggles as well. I'm quite keen on seeing how they behave. I need to get myself a new set of Fat Sharks. I am desperate for a set of goggles. I've got Dominator version 2s. Now, I've borrowed a set of HDOs to try, and I was impressed, but I just, at the moment, I just couldn't warrant spending that much on a set of goggles. I do need to get myself a new set of Fat Sharks. Probably these HD ones are going to be where I end up on them. They're probably going to be where I put the money when they come out, but they're probably 6 months off. Yeah, they really are. Better than HD Jews, be able to count. I love mine. Yeah, I need to have a look at these Sky Zones. I was watching a couple of videos on them the other day, and yeah, how much are they in the UK, Bruce? I haven't looked. Yes. The problem with that video in is, yeah, it does do video in, but it depends how they're doing that. That's the problem. Let's have a look. Sky Zone 04's in the UK. Vanguard, Flying Tech. 479 quid. Interesting. Out of stock. Shock horror. Can't get anything. Gonna be interesting. Let's have a look. What else we got? What are they in Vanguard? 400, 405. Not really much cheaper. Just looking down the list of any of the dealers. Not many UK dealers. UK. Flying Tech. Surprised I'm not seeing some of the other usual suspects showing up. So it's literally just Flying Tech with the older ones. I wonder what dealers they have got in the UK then. Shopping. Banggood. Everything's Banggood. Yeah. It's interesting that many of the normal stores don't have them. Okay. Yeah, that could be interesting if they do it. I'm not sure myself how they're actually doing that data between them. I'm really not sure. It's going to be interesting to see. Okay, guys, if you've got any questions, please do put them in the comments. I'm just going to take a sip of this drink and catch up on the chat. Good evening off the ground. I hope you're well. Watch the lipo explode. Probably, Bruce, knowing me. I had a lipo completely die on me yesterday. Why I'm down to 3. It got to, what's the voltage drop on this? I don't think I pushed it too far. Let me show you this. It'll make you laugh. It got very hairy how fast it dropped off at the end. I had a weird day flying yesterday. I've completely rebuilt this, and I took it just for a basic FPV flight, and I ended up getting it in a bush, right? Because my camera come loose, and I couldn't see. The camera had just gone loose, and it basically moved up, and it was virtually looking at the sky. And I ended up ditching it, thinking I was pretty close to where I was, and I wasn't. I'll show you that very quickly. Let me find the right bit. Let me just get it in here. The camera. It was a bit windy and a bit all over the place. This wasn't a proper flight. This was just me messing around with this aircraft I was testing. I was a little high coming in. I thought, I'll drop it down. I'll just cut the power. And I cut the power into a bush. And I thought I wasn't paying as much attention as I probably should. I was a little bit high, to say the least, coming in. It was bloody windy, as you can see. Everything's moving around. And everything was okay here. Now, I had to have a bit of bank angle, and then the camera was moving. You can't see it here, but the camera was just loose and moving around. And I thought, okay, I'm not far off. I'm not far off. No, I'm not. I'm nowhere near. I'm nowhere near. I'm losing it. It's going in the bush. And I ended up spending 10 minutes trying to find the damn thing in the trees. Which was quite funny. But this battery here made me laugh because this one, right, let me just get to the point where it drops off. Where is it? Let me just have a look. I think I did one last flip too much. Now watch the voltages on the screen on this one, right? So I was coming back in just for a spin on this. Oh no, I didn't. I decided to go around again. I think this was the mistake I made. I decided just to go for a spin around. I was going to test the Betaflight rescue. That's why I took it around out the way, and I was going to let it do it from there, and then I thought better of it. And I thought, oh, let's just do a quick flip. We'll bring it back, and then... Now, watch the voltage. You can see I've hit 13.5 now, 4S, and just watch it drop off. And I think I went a little bit too far. But this pack seems to not be good. And I get you, and I'm thinking, I'm coming in nice and low. We'll start coming down. And then it was like, oh, we're going. The voltage drops, and it just sucks the life out. And it was gone. So yeah, that one, that pack is not a good one now. Should have orbited first with the high camera angle. You can look down. It was all over the place. It was, and I thought I'm coming in. I came in a bit high, and I thought, oh, I'll be all right. I'll just get close enough, and I'll just do the usual, flick it into arm, and then put it into the tree. And I spent 15 minutes then looking for it. I couldn't find it. I was going around in circles trying to find it. But this was just some flights out and about. This is out the way. Not having a die like that, yeah. Yeah, it's certainly a weak one. It's certainly a weak one. And I shouldn't have done that last flip, let's just say. But it was fine, and then it just went off a cliff. Just off a cliff. No, Bruce. The beeper wasn't working much. I knew where it was, right? Just to give you an idea, all right, right there. I knew where it was because I was shaking a bush. Did I record that bit? 1 second. No, it's not that one. Is it this one? There we go. It was in the bushes. Now, I don't know if you see in this me shaking the bush or not. I can't remember. Let's have a look. I knew roughly where it was. Have a look. Oh, here you go, look. And I was thinking, I know it's here somewhere. I was below it at this point. I'm thinking, it's in here somewhere. Couldn't see it for looking. So I was shaking the bush just to try and see on the camera whereabouts it was. Now, I have got it on my phone, actually, the video of where it was. And it was right up in some branches. But the beeper wasn't working, unfortunately. I completely misjudged. I thought I'll just cut it now, let it drop, and it'll land in front of me. And I just saw the bushes in the goggles and just thought, yeah, you were off to the side too much. Doesn't help, I had a child with me as well. I decided to put 4 packs through it today, and it was, this is the one I've had problems with, so I've just been doing some other stuff. Something very interesting, though, having spent more time flying that today. If you need to shake the bush to find the surprise, it's time to be having a chat. Better bush than a police officer. Yeah, it's just it's funny because as I was coming in, I was sort of keeping an eye on where it was. I had my boy behind me as well, who was only 7, so it was, look, I don't think I'm overhead. What I should have done is flip the goggles up and had a look where I was, but I was in the goggles, and I was like, get behind me. Sort of doing about 4 things at once, and just thought, I'm going to cut it. And I heard it go, and I was like, oh, really? Yeah, it's one of those funny ones. But yeah, there's a real shortage of lipos in the UK. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Let me just bring this up. If we go to Hobby RC, if we go to Unmanned Aerial Tech Shop, just to show you this, guys, right? There are just no batteries available in the UK anyway right now. So these are a couple of the main drone parts, batteries, 4S. There's just a mass shortage of packs. There's some low-level ones. You're okay on like the 1,000. Well, I'm a bit dubious to buy these again because mine keep going on fire. But if we go down here, everything's out of stock. 1,000 milliamp. 220s are in, actually. They've got 220s. But literally, almost everything you would want is gone. Order some CHNL packs from the US warehouse. From Banggood, is it, Bruce? Not Banggood, from Hobby King. Does anyone use Hobby King? Hobby King these days? Oh, not Hobby RC. I haven't used Hobby King for years. So are they on Hobby King, are they? CL Blacks are in unmanned. Are they? CHN Blacks. So which ones now? Let's have a look, because I need 4S. So... Ah! 1500s. Yes, they've got them. Oh, okay, so they're good. Okay. I'll be ordering 5 of them tomorrow. No, not Hobby King. China Hobby Line. Ah, right, sorry. Does anyone use Hobby King anymore? Does anyone use Hobby King? I don't know. ChinaHobbyline.com. Ah! Do they like going on? So what are they? 1500 milliamp hour, 100C. Yeah, pretty good. It's interesting, isn't it? Everyone used Hobby King at one point. I don't even know. Are Hobby King even? Are they even? You know, price compatible these days? Right. So if we go to batteries and chargers, LiPo, are they even reasonable anymore? You know, so if I look at 1500, what do we want? 900 to, what's that? 3, that'll do. 4 cells. And we want C rating. Discharge. 75 plus. So, what a Hobby King got these days? It's been years. 4S, 1400, 17 Chinergy packs. That's killed Hobby King. Yeah, I was just intrigued. Does anyone really use them anymore for batteries and stuff? You know, we've got, you know, they're not particularly, what's that? 1400 Chinergy. Chinergy graphene, I'm guessing they're good. They're, you know, nothing here jumps off the page. 75C, see, these aren't even big packs, are they? 1400, 75C, 75C. You know, if they're saying 75C, I wouldn't trust them. Would you? And is that the limit of the, you know? Hobby King. Yeah, it always broke the deal for me. Yeah, this is the problem. You know, we all used to use Hobby King in the day for all sorts. I used to be honest, I had a lot of the zippy lipos for my DJI stuff. When I, you know, 450s and Cubs. And I got on fine with the zippies. I still have 2. Well, look, there's 2 zippy. These 2 are workhorses. These are my bench zippies that I use. I've killed these. These have been down to below 3 volt more times, right, than I can shake a stick at. This one's a little bit puffy. This one's okay. And I use these for powering stuff on the bench. These don't fly anymore. They're simply for doing what I did there, basically. And they're just decent packs. They just work. You know, they're not great for FPV. You'd never fly the current through them. But yeah, you know, they're decent enough batteries. They're decent enough batteries for everyday use. But I'm just looking on Hobby King. There really isn't anything there you'd go, yeah, I'm happy with that. 75C, give me a break. Yeah, it's if they're 75C, I'd be shocked. Yeah, I've got a couple of Zippy Blues over there, Bruce, as well. Zippy, yeah, I got a couple of them. Good batteries. Really weird, but cool. Okay, CNL Black Series, CNHLs, £17 a pack. Just think, I can get 10 of them. So just to show you this, I can get 10 of them, 10 of these, or one of these. What do you think I'm going to do? Which one should we do? It's really interesting today, actually. This has been offline for a while. It be varying reasons. This thing has been sitting on the bench. It's been because I was flying the DJI FPV drone. I had a lot of time off flying last year because of COVID. Divided by 2, I think we divided by 5 with with Hobby King. I didn't do a lot of flying last year. Bit of camera drone stuff, not so much FPV. Bit of wings, bit of mix, nothing spectacular. And it is amazing how out of practice you get. You really do. You know, I'm certainly no JB. I'm not really. I do like a bit of proximity flying, but not really heavily. I'm a bit more of a wing kind of guy, and where I live is more that kind of flying. And I am a camera drone person. I'm a camera person as well, but I do fly FPV. So what I've sort of done over the last month is try to put more and more time into getting back to beyond where I was a year and a half ago. And I'll be honest, I am so rusty, it's crazy. But I've been spending a bit of time on liftoff. Managed to go through Bardwell's window today, which was quite fun. Nearly hit his car. I quite like flying Bardwell's track. It's just a bit of fun, really. On liftoff, and I've been flying that a bit more on the DJI FPV drone. And I've flown the DJI FPV drone probably exclusively for the last 2 months since it's come out, just because that's where the content was. And now this is back up and running with everything working properly. I was flying this today. And hand on heart, I had to ask myself, why would I have the FPV drone from DJI? Why? What reason is there to have the DJI drone over this? Now, there is one. Actually, there's two. There's 2 really good reasons why I would prefer, or I do prefer, the DJI FPV drone over this. Number 1, the adjustable camera angle. If I'd have had that yesterday, I wouldn't have had a problem. I do like the ability to be able to move the camera. It's such a basic thing, isn't it? But it is good. Unlock your goggles to unlock your goggles. It is it's nice having that, like, extra functionality, the ability to move the camera. It's little things. It's like the difference between a Ford Fiesta and, you know, a Mondeo or a bigger car, or just having some of those more luxury. Does it make life any easier? A little bit. Is it fundamental? No. And actually, it's 3 things. It's having a proper return to home is really nice. And I know all of the FPV guys are going to sit there and say, oh, we don't use GPS. No one wants GPS. That is probably now 400, 450 quid's worth. I want it back if something's going wrong. And not only that, I also really like the ability to be able to just flick it into GPS mode a moment and leave it there. For instance, as I said yesterday, I was flying with my boy, and he's 7 years old, and he was around, and he was here, and he was there, and there was an electric fence in front of me. Where I was flying, what you couldn't see is there was an actual electric fence there, which was on, and we were being careful around that. And I had, the wife was around, but she was walking around and stuff like that. But having the ability to just drop it into GPS mode a minute and just tick the goggles up and worry about what's going on around you is handy. Okay, you're not doing that in FPV race, but it is a nice thing to have. And having the just the easier return to home, it's just handy. It's just really handy to have. So there are really 3 nice features to have. Now, return to home, I bet you let it drive automatic. I do drive an automatic car, Bruce. I do drive an automatic car, thank you very much. It's nice to have those extras. Is too many trees. But it doesn't change, it's not fundamental. Now, I am doing a build, actually, with ArdraPilot. I'm really interested to see how ArdraPilot flies. In manual. I haven't flown ArdraPilot in manual on a small quad for a really long time. And I have ordered in a new flight controller for it, which is this thing here. Let me show you. Now, this has been ordered in specifically to build an FPV quad with ArdraPilot. I can't remember what it is. So, it is... it's the Gh5 7 Mini version 2. Now, it's not the version 3 because the version 3 doesn't work with ArdraPilot. The version 2 does. I need to get it a bit brighter, don't I? So I've ordered this in specifically. It's just focus. I've ordered this in specifically for using with ArdraPilot. And it's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to build a full FPV quad, but with ArdraPilot, with iNav. Yes. Do you know, I still have some quirks with iNav. I was going to do iNav, but at the end of the day, ArdraPilot can do everything iNav does and a bit more. So I thought, why don't I go with ArdraPilot and see how ArdraPilot flies as an FPV quad. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've done it. So we're going to build that up. It's going to have full GPS, all of the usuals, and just see how it goes. Really, more than anything, just to see how it goes. As I said, I tried GPS Rescue. It's probably the first time I tried GPS Rescue in a very, very long time. And it went over me, and then it went the other way, and then it went sideways, and I'm thinking, oh, this isn't going well. It's been a long time since I've flown iNav properly. Perhaps I should try it with iNav, then ArdraPilot. I wonder if there should be an iNav target for that, I'm guessing. Works great. Okay, that's interesting. So, but just to round that conversation off, really, the more time you spend on one of these, whilst owning the DJI drone, it is hard at times to justify the cost. And you suddenly think, do I really need it? And today I spent, yes, you got that 4K recording, but the DVR footage on this is decent enough. The DJI one isn't good enough to make it worth it. I think that's what my problem is. And I'm probably going to do a video on this at some point where I've flown both of them on the same time. And I'm just going to do a bit more of a talking, flying video on it. I'm going to probably try and do it this week, actually. Wanted to ask about the V2 goggles, antenna upgrades, any recommendations? Okay. That's a complicated question because it depends. And you'll be getting 4K recording. Exactly, Bruce. Right. So, are you asking for with use with the DJI FPV drone, with use with the air unit, or both? Because there is a different answer whichever route you go. If there's any other questions, guys, don't forget to put them in. Give us a like as well. We're halfway through, so I should do some chilling. Don't forget to give us a like if you're new here. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Only air unit. Okay, so if you're only using air units, you can go down the same road as everything else for the V1s. So, if you want to go down the road of patch, you can use the Crystal HDs, bottom 2 ports on the V2s. I've got them on the bottom 2 on the V1s. Bottom 2 on the V2s. Crystal HD. if you're going for, you can put anything. There's no reason to use the duality antennas if you're only going to use it with the FPV system. There is TrueRC make a set of dualities for the version 2s, but you don't need them if you're not flying the FPV drone. If you're flying just the FPV system, you can use all the same antennas for the V1s. Just if you're using patches, go on the bottom 2 ports on the V2s. That seems to be the overall best performance. Something like the Crystal HDs for my flight work really well. Because if you go on the bottom 2 ports, one's on transmit and one's on receive. So that's receive, that's transmit. Yes, that's receive, that's transmit. Had to look at it from the front. Thought about getting the iFlight Crystal patch, disconnect, and then fly the DJI. So, yeah, you know, there's no... The thing to remember on the V2s is the antennas that come with it are dual band, and they are linear polarized. So they are not circular polarized. So there is a benefit on the DJI goggles version 2 to using patches on the bottom and replacing the 2 Omnis on the top. On the V1s, it's not so important to swap the top antennas or the bottoms, whichever way you're doing it. On the V1s, these are single band left-hand circular polarized, so they're okay anyway, because all of the antennas on the DJI are left-hand circular polarized. You know, there's nothing wrong with the dualities, but there's no specific reason to have them unless you are going to fly it with the FPV drone. I wonder about the VWR on those patch antennas. Okay for receive, but I wouldn't want to run high VDS on transmit or in high power levels. The only problem is, Bruce, on the V1s, you can't choose which is transmit and which is receive ports, apart from one of them, because you can use on the V1. Probably would be a good test, isn't it? A VSWR test on these. I haven't got the gear for that. Who's got the gear for that? My bag. Yeah. That's a nice option as well. They are smaller. You can also get something like these, like the stubbies. Where are they? iFlight also make these as well, which are stubbies for use on 5 gigs. I've not bothered fitting them on the V1s. There's lots of good antennas out there, okay? For the most part, they're all going to behave the same. What you've got to remember is this. The air unit antennas should all be left-hand circular polarized. So the antenna you get with the Vista, the antennas you get with the DJI are left hands. The V2 goggles are linear polarized. So there is a mismatch there to start with. So if you're going to upgrade and only use it for the DJI system, everything is the same. As the only advantage on the V2s versus the V1s is that on the V2s, you can choose if you want them on both receive or both transmit. Because on the V2s, those 2 are receive, those 2 are transmits. On the V1s, that's receive. These 3 switch between transmit and receive automatically. Whereas on the V2s, both on receive, both on transmit, corner to corner. Just make a single 5-tin hex skill, put it on the bottom right SMA. That'll give you a huge range increase. Yeah, because that's the main. That one is always receive. I've had good range on these. I quite like these Crystal HDs. No issues with them at all. Absolutely fine. Hope that answers that one. Does that mean I could use right and circular polarized on my Vista if I have the stock antennas on my V2? Yeah, but they're linear polarized. Technically, yes. You can use right hand or left hand because there's no match either way, whichever way you're doing it. Because they're not matched anyway. You're getting a roughly 3 dB loss either side. But remember, the DJI goggles are... The way the antenna setup is it 3 dB loss is another question. It's as mismatched left as it is right, if that makes sense. There's no either way. You need Yagis on the back of your drone. Okay, guys. Let me just catch up on what I was going to talk about next. So, just to... could use a linear black stick as well. Yeah, be interesting. Just put linears on the FPV drone. Does anyone put linears on? Be interesting, Bruce. I can't think of anyone actually putting linears on the aircraft. Have you done it? I haven't. I can't think of anyone putting linears on the drone itself. Interesting thought. Ah, interesting. Ah, yes, they are, aren't they? They are on some of the the small aircraft. Because the Vista comes with a left-hand circular polarizer standard. It depends. See, on the V1s, it won't be great, but on the V2s, it will. See, when you look inside the Dji antenna, I got one here. See, this is the this is inside. Oh, where are we? Let's move that over there. This is inside one of the original Dji ear unit antennas. This is a broken one. So this is the ear unit antenna. I need to get the brightness up, don't I? 1 second. Sorry, I'm trying to find the right button blind. Whee. That's better. Sorry, I had to drop the ISO up a tad. We were a bit dark. So this is one of the original Dji antennas. Now this one has a bad USB. I've had to actually not USB. That's Bruce's fault. This one has I've had to fix this one once, but it's just not good. The interesting thing is, I was using this antenna on the DJI system, I had no problems, and I used it on the Fat Shark system, and it didn't work at all. Interestingly, and that's when I found out it was dead. So I popped the cover off just to have a look. So this is one of the original left-hand circular polarized DJI antennas. That's what they look like inside. I keep it on the bench there. There's a foam cap. Try and get the top off. Sorry, just we'll have a rip into him. We just pop the top off, and then you can see. Focus Gh5. There you go. You can see that's the layout inside, and that's the design of the antenna there. So you can see what they've done is they've got it soldered in the center, and it comes out through the top. It's interesting because I'm guessing that's both sides of the PCB. If you look, obviously, if you look on the top, we've got the PCB, and then the track comes out, and then it comes out and runs up. But there's also a track that comes out and runs down. So they must have one top and bottom of the PCB. Very nice. Yep. So, yeah, that just shows you the DJI ones inside. Okay, guys. The next thing, I got a couple of little things I'm gonna talk about. So just to recap, we've done batteries, we've done DJI, we've done goggles, we've done that. I just want to talk about a couple of things. And if there's any questions while I'm doing this, guys, please do let me know. Now, this week for the camera guys, those of us who have cameras, this week we had the release of the Gh5 Mark II. If any of you guys use cameras for doing anything like this, you know, this is a Sony, but this one above I was using just now is a Gh5. This one is. They've released the Gh5 Mark II. Very nice indeed. It's not the Gh6 as everyone hoped for, but it's got a lot of improvements. Looking really interesting. Now, if anyone here uses the Gh5 or has a G9, and I also have a G9, there's a big firmware update coming for the G9 as well, which is going to be quite interesting. Biggest changes on the Gh5 is they've updated the Venus engine, Gh5 Mark II. But yeah, mild upgrade, nothing fantastic. But they have announced there's going to be a Gh6 as well. So if you are using a Gh5 and you fancy, MFT is not dead. There is a Gh6 coming in the future. Now, Something else I'm looking at is this. Now, the reason I want to talk quickly about this is I'm interested if anyone has got one. If anyone's got an A10 Mini Pro ISO, can you let me know? I'd love to talk to you. I'm thinking of upgrading my A10 Mini. Now, just to explain it, I have an A10 Mini here. You guys can't quite see it. Let me put the chat back up so I can see it. Which works really well. However, there's a real nice feature in the A10 Mini ISO, whereas you can record on here rather than on my PC. Now, just to explain the setup I use to do this, what I'm doing now, we have a Sony a6400, which is this camera here, which goes into the A10 Mini, which is a HDMI splitter, switcher. So just to give you ideas, it's that thing there. That is the A10 Mini, which allows up to 4 channels of HDMI input, HDMI output, controls the audio and everything as well. That then goes into my PC, which goes into OBS. So if I just put this up here and show you guys this, comes into this, you can see the never-ending window. And then my XLR mic comes into OBS as well. Now, the way I make most of my content these days is I record via OBS in 1080p. Now, the nice thing about that is it records everything it sees. So if I do a switch to a different camera, it includes that. And you do that and it comes back to that one. However, the downside is, and I've got a video coming out this week regarding the DJI FPV system where I'm talking about it on a spectrum analyzer and I'm walking you through its behavior. And what I ended up doing was I was a little off to the side I had the spectrum analyzer on the screen here. And unfortunately, I didn't realize when recording at the time is I was a little off to the side and it sort of cuts me out and I can't change it, unfortunately. And I've sort of made me think about the whole way I do things. And I've been thinking about upgrading for a couple of reasons. And the reason is the A10 Mini Pro ISO records directly on board as well. And it has a really clever feature, which it not only records the single program output, which is what you're seeing here, but it also records the 4 HDMI inputs independently as well to a separate file, which means you can later, if you wanted to, re-edit and adjust things rather than just having the program output. The other, which is frankly mad feature of this, is it also adds a file which you can use in Resolve, which you just drag it in and it will already have edited it to the way you've done it. So for instance, rather than you just dragging the file in and then have to manually edit the files, if I switch from that camera and then switch to back that one, when you drag the Resolve file in, it will have all the switches and the bits of the video in place for you. So all you need to then do is just move the edit points around and it works. So I'm interested in seeing what people think. I know it's not drone related, but if anyone does have one, let me know. I'm really intrigued in your thoughts. And the Pro ISO, it's just got some amazing little additions. I love the Mini, but it's you know, it sort of gives you the program output, but editable, which is really cool. Really cool. TBS Unified Nano is shipped with linear antenna, if I remember. Just catching up on the comments. Blue Shark, DB. Thoughts on the CUAV X7 versus the Cube Orange. Okay, so I have a Nora here in a plane over there, which is basically the same as the X7. Virtually the same. What I will say is this: I've been lucky to have been sent products by both CUAV and CubePilot. The benefit of CubePilot is the Cube ecosystem is all compatible. So if you see that poster up there, it's a CubePilot poster. They very kindly sent it to me. So all of the cubes work in all of the carrier boards. You can have a Cube Black, take it out, put a Cube Orange in. CUAV currently don't have that compatibility. There is only, as far as I've seen, one carrier board. There might be others, but I've only seen one. It doesn't have, whilst it's a modular system, I haven't seen the benefit of their modular system yet. So right now for me, of the two, I would go with the Cube Orange. simply because in the future you can rip it out, put another one in. That's where I'm at the moment. But the CUAV is a very good autopilot as well. I believe the X7 works very well. There's no specific issues. There is a more expensive version of the X7 as well with bigger sensors. There is a much bigger version out there as well, but the standard one, I'd lean with the Cube. You won't go far wrong with either, but the Cube at the moment is probably the best longer term option overall. But CUAV have made some good autopilots. You know, they've sent me some to try before, no real issues. I got the X5 in a quad over there, one of my ArduPilot test quads. It's been absolutely perfect, no problems at all. What I will say is this: there is a thread on ArduPilot which might be worth a look for you, that looks at the vibration isolation behavior between some of these autopilots, and the CUAV does work differently to the Cube, and there are some certain circumstances where the CUAV's vibration isolation is better than the Cube's, depending on the type of aircraft you're using as well. So if that is important, but again, a properly balanced system, it's not going to be a problem. Hope that makes sense. Ask Dave Jones, he's got the Black Magic unit, has he? What if you want to use the Crystal HDs with the DJI FPV drone? Okay, you can, but you have to force the drone into 5 gigs mode to get the best performance. Because if you were to use the V2s with these on the FPV drone, you'd be limited and left your DJI antennas on for 2 of them. So let's say you put the Crystal HD on the bottom and the DJI officials on the top. If it goes into 2.4 mode, it's just going to use the top 2 antennas. You're probably going to get much worse behavior. It's not something I've actually tested yet. It's one of those little things I want to actually do. But if you're going to do it and force the drone into 5 gigs mode, technically it should be fine. But you would need to force the drone into 5 gigs mode to be safe. To be sure. Yeah, it is. It's the larger aircraft, larger props, the CUAV. But I think that was the X5. I can't remember if the X7 was actually listed in those tests. How to force it. You can do it from the settings menu in the FPV drone. Under transmission settings, you can just choose it to custom. I think it's custom or manual, and then choose 5 gigahertz. Technically, you could leave it in auto and it might do it anyway. But I haven't tested that yet. It's something I want to do this week, funny enough. Oh, thank you, Bruce. Yeah, I think as Jasper said on the thing, it's bigger, lower vibration aircraft, the CUAV won out. But then again, you can always soft mount the Cube if you wanted to as well. Not advised, but you can do it if needed. It's something I haven't actually tried yet. Remember, the DJI FPV drone will switch band automatically. But you do have to be a bit careful on how it behaves. Just moving back over to the correct channel on the screen so I can see what's going on. Dave's video. Which one is Dave's? Is it the Pro ISO he's got then? That link doesn't work. Let me go and find it. No, that's the problem, isn't it? It's screwed that link up. Is it it's on the EV blog, is it, Bruce? I've got, yeah, I'm looking at 2 things. I'm either going to buy a sit-stand desk, or I'm going to buy myself an A10 Mini Pro ISO, because I can sell my A10 Mini. I've had £300 cash back from Panasonic when I bought my S5, and it comes in the form of a prepaid credit card. And so it's money I've already spent on the camera, but I've not got in cash. So I'm looking to just use it to invest in a new piece of equipment. Yeah, I thought it was vibration isolation. There's a thing on the cube that it was the isolation, but I might have read something wrong. Well, I'll check it now, Bruce. So I'm either looking at getting myself an HM Mini 2 or a sit-stand desk, because they've both been on my radar for some time. One will make my life easier one way, one will make my life easier the other. Haven't quite decided which one to do yet. If I go for the A10 Mini Pro ISO, I'm going to be spending, I think it's about 780 quid. But by the time I use the 300 quid from Panasonic and sell mine, it'll cost me about 130 quid out of my own pocket. So it's not terrible. It's not a massive cost jump for the benefit. Oh, no, it doesn't like that one either, Bruce. Oh, let me go back right there. I did it in the chat, and it just don't put it through the wash. No, let me just go. EVV. Tear down. 3 days ago, ATEM Extreme ISO. That's the big one, isn't it? Yes. Lots of ASICs, if I remember, Bruce. Am I right? If it's the video I'm thinking of. Lots of custom ASICs in it. I did see it. If it's the one I'm thinking of. Very expensive custom ASICs, if I remember, too. Weren't they something like $100 each? Or something like that, if you had to buy them. I have to say, the A10 Mini is a fantastic piece of kit. I'm just thinking the benefits of being a Mini Pro wire battery, using it for his own vids. Yeah, I bought the Mini because I couldn't get the Mini Pro at the time. The ability to stream directly from it could be interesting and come out of... The problem is then you're sort of coming away from OBS. But the big benefit is that multiple... Yeah, that's right, as a one-off price. That was it, 1,000. It wasn't 100, it was 1,000, yeah. It was more than the cost of the unit, and there was like 2 of them in there, if I recall. Oh, no, yeah, that was the big one, though, because that would have been over $1,000. But yeah, it was crazy money. But I am thinking about it. But it's either that or a sit-stand desk, so I can actually stand up. But you're right, I spend a lot of time sitting. I thought it might be quite interesting. I fancied a sit-stand desk for a very, very long time. But we're going to have to see. Now, the last thing I was just going to talk to you guys a little bit about, and I'll still answer any questions, guys. Please put them too. If you're new here, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Is my PV system. Now, there is a video coming on this in the next couple of weeks, but I wanted to share with you just a little bit of work I've been doing in the background on my Grow Watt inverter around Python to spend the money on. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, Panasonic were doing a deal on the S5 that they were doing a £300 cashback, so I was entitled to it, so that's what I got. Nothing specific for me, same as everyone. Now I've been doing some work on my Grow Watt inverter. Now, what I've done, let me just find the website and I'll share this with you. First of all, if we go there's a website called pvoutput.org that allows you to upload your PV system's data via whatever software or method you've got. So just to jump over to this, as part of my installation, I put in a Grow Watt inverter, one of the cheaper ones, and it supports RS485. And there's a load of projects online where you can make an uploader via a Raspberry Pi that allows you to take the data from the inverter and upload it to this website, which I've been doing. Now, it actually crashed today. It didn't actually work properly. It crashed. If you look, it's been fine up until the 28th, and then it skipped a day, and it was only about mid today I got the damn thing back up and running. I didn't realize it was offline. But you can see we've had some bad weather days as well. You can see there's been some really bad weather days. There's been some good ones. But today actually ended up being the best day of generation at all. you can see it didn't kick back in until about 12 o'clock. That's when I rebooted the system and I started doing some work on the code and went, oh, it's not actually running. But what this allows you to do is actually upload your PV data. So it uploads, this is all of the uploads. I've got it set to do it every 5 minutes to the system. Now, this is done via some scripting. Let me just find the right window. And it's done via some scripts via Python in the Raspberry Pi. So what we've got is some scripts that I found online, but I've modified to work with my own. So we've got this script here. Now, I will be sharing this in another video, which is a Python script that allows us to get the upload from the inverter. So what it basically does is it takes the inverter, you have an RS485 adapter, reads the info from the inverter, and then uploads it to the website. You've then got another script which I made, which is PV Now. And what this allows me to do is check what the status of the inverter is. Now, I was going to show you guys this, but I've just realized the damn thing's off because it's dark. So it's not going to actually work. So if I actually just go to it a minute, just to show you this. Python PV Now.py. It's going to throw an error. It is going to throw an error because the damn thing's offline. So it's not going to read. So what we've actually done is uploaded the scripts. So this isn't really going to work. Uploaded the scripts onto the unit, and it runs them every 5 minutes for the PV output. And then there's two scripts. There's PV status. I've created one as well to send me an email that tells me that the system's running. So for instance, if I go to nano PV status, actually, let me close that one. It will actually upload the status to the email. So let me just go Python PV status or py. If I run it now, I'm not sure if it'll actually run. No, it's going to throw an error because again, it can't get the information from the damn registers. So what I was going to show you isn't going to work. That's a downer. I'm going to have to do this on that video. Anyway, so the idea is we've set up some Python scripts that run on a Raspberry Pi that pull the data off the PV and upload it to a website and email me its status once a day. There you go. That's what I've done. I have to end that one there because we're not going to be able to go any further with that one today. So going back to the chat. Best laid plans and all of that. I have a Vista with a less than 6 antenna. I tried it with the V1s on my V2 goes. Hope to get better when flying trees, but not really. The V2s work better, or at least similar. I don't think there's a lot in it. I honestly don't think there's a lot in it, to be honest. I don't think that there's a massive amount between them. I honestly don't. Just extra. Hi, Drone Shots. How are you? How are you? Hope you're safe and well, my friend. Now, guys, we've been nearly going 2 hours. The live stream was later tonight. I did it at 10 o'clock because I was a bit later getting back, and we're into the summer hours a bit now as well, so I do have the potential to go later. We're pretty much there, guys. This is pretty much the end of it for tonight. If you've got any questions before we do end this one, please do put them in the comments. As I've said, to recap on the DJI goggles thing, hopefully there'll be an update I'll be able to talk to you about first very soon. Is the PV system gathered over Modbus? And it's RS485. I just can't remember if it's Modbus or not. I thought it was their own. Let me just look at the script. I thought it was their own protocol. Yes, it is. It is Modbus. Yes, it is. Sorry, I had to think a second. Yes, it is. Yes. 9:45, so I usually get the stream late. No problem, Ghost FPV. Now, timing-wise, I'm going to have to think about it a bit because we're in summer here, so I'm an hour ahead. It's a bit late for some of the British guys. Not bad for Europe. Bit late for some of the Brits. But we'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to see how it goes. Now, in the next couple of days, there's a couple of videos planned. The first is the DJI FPV system on a scope, and there's some really interesting behavior around this system. There really is. It's got some real quirks. Let's just say that on how it works. And something which is really interesting is this system works differently in 25 megs mode than 50, in the sense of how the remote controller and how the channel allocation works. And I'll be talking about that. And we're looking at it on a handheld scope. I've been very kindly lent a handheld oscilloscope. Not a handheld oscilloscope, a handheld spectrum analyzer from AIM-TTI. And there's some cool stuff coming on that. There really is. To give you guys a bit of a sneak peek, there is some really interesting behavior on this system that you don't see in normal use because you don't see it. But just to show you, let me just find it. So you guys can. Let me just make sure. Let me just turn that off a sec. 1 second. Let me turn the ATEM off on desktop mode. There you go. So you can actually see it. There you go. So there's some really interesting behavior, and I'm sure this is the one where I said I was a bit too to the side. Could do with being here on this one. This is an overlay, and I can't move it because it was done live when I recorded this. And we're taking a look at this in multiple ways. We're looking at it on the handheld spectrum analyzer, and just to give you guys a sneak peek, that is the OFDM video. That is the RC control link. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in that video, but we're going to be taking a closer look at how it looks and behaves overall, and the behavior between 25 megs and 50. And as I said, some really interesting stuff, as well as the interesting behavior when the system powers on, and the reasons why it has a habit of blacking other users out. And I have discussed this in 1 or 2 videos before. But yeah, some interesting stuff coming on that one in the near future. That video's basically finished. Not far enough to the side to get behind it. Looking for an old Coke bottle wax and thing. So yeah, that one's it. I think I finished it. I just need to check a few things on it, basically. But yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Not far enough behind it. Oh, going to Drone Mode. Been trying to set up a Raspberry Pi 4 to monitor everything. Now I started on a Raspberry Pi 4, and now I've gone to a 0, the new 0, because I didn't need a 4 on it. So I've moved over to a Pi 0 for monitoring. I actually only screwed it to the wall today. But yeah, I'm not great with code. You know, that code I was showing you earlier is a mixture of stuff I've begged, borrowed, and stolen off everyone else, but I can cobble some stuff together in the end, and I've got it working. Hello, I need some help with the Cadex Vista unit. It was working well for a couple of days ago. Today when I found my drone, I noticed the red light is on it, and I got no picture on the goggles. How are you powering the Vista? How is it being powered? Is it powered from your flight controller or powered directly from the battery? All of the ear units are temperamental on power. It's possible if you're using power via the flight controller, try it directly to battery via the correct voltage, making sure you don't burn it out, and see how it behaves. Always the first protocol is power on the ear units. Always is. It's possible it's just died, but you know, I'll be honest, I can't think of many that have died just direct from the battery. What happens when you plug it into a PC and try to flash the firmware? 4S or 6S? As Bruce has said, little concerning. What happens when you power it up, try connecting it to the PC? Does the drive show? So when you plug it in the PC, you should get the drive. If the drive does show, try reflashing the firmware, just in case. Check your power connections. try disconnecting the flight controller just in case. 4S. Try rebinding as well. First thing, plug power in. Does it appear in the PC when you plug the USB-C in? You know, you should get the drive appear. Does it connect to Assistant 2? Just try those things first of all. If that does, refresh the firmware, try rebinding, as Bruce says. Connecting to the PC will give you an idea if the damn thing's alive or not. You know, that's your first port of call. You know, if it shows up in the drive, you'll know if it's alive or not then. That's probably the quickest way forward. You can try to bind out the door, mind you. Know, there's nothing wrong with trying to bind it first of all. But you know, if you plug it into the PC, it'll give you an idea if there's any life there. Okay, guys. I think that's it. I'd like to thank you all for spending some time with me on a Sunday night. It's a bank holiday Sunday, so I'm going flying tomorrow at some point. I got to charge all my batteries again for the morning. I'm going to order some of those packs. Thank you for putting me onto them, guys. I've not tried those ones myself. I'm on the Tatuas at the moment, so I'm going to order 5 of them. That should keep me going for a little bit. We're going to rebind is nothing. Try it in Assistant 2. See if the drives show. Is it naked or fully housed? I got a bit of flying to do this week. I got a lot to catch up on video-wise. There's so much stuff. Since you have talked this long, I've got all your lipos charged. Nice. I wish I had. Yeah, no, mine aren't charged over there. I've got enough. It's taking forever to charge at the moment. Yeah, it's... I'm going to order it. I haven't decided what frame to use for the Ardra Pilot build. I need to start looking at that this week. You've only got 2. Well, I've only got 3 of the 1500s for this. I got bigger batteries there. I got 2 2s I could fly if I wanted to. I've got 4 lipos out there which are dead. That one I still haven't killed yet. You know, that one I drained. The problem is, I've been doing loads of bench stuff, and I killed a load on the bench. Killed an absolute ton of batteries on the bench. I'm really bad for doing that. That's why I think that one that goes off, you know, that one that died off, not connecting to your PC either. Not a good sign. Okay, what I would recommend is this. Disconnect everything, only have power connected. Check the power levels are correct, make sure everything's okay. If it's still not connecting to the PC, power it on, press and hold the bind button. Not too hard because you can push the damn thing off the PCB. Keep it held and then power it on and keep it held for like 20 seconds. Then try connecting to the PC, see if it shows. So plug the USB-C in. Hold the power button, not the power button, the bind button down. Plug the power on, keep it held for up to 20 seconds, see if it shows. If it shows in Assistant 2, reflash the firmware. If it doesn't, it's probably dead. Unusual for a Vista to die like that, though. I haven't seen many. They can get spiked, as Bruce said, but not common. Really not common. Hopefully that might, touch wood, might get us out of it. Right, guys, for everyone watching, I'd like to thank you for spending some time with me tonight. I will get the stuff out in the week. There's some more stuff coming on the bench. I got 2 Xboxes here to have a look at. I've been doing a lot of work on bench power supplies as well. I've been still working on these. I've been doing a lot of stuff in the background on that. That stuff. Yeah, thank you for spending some time with me. Hope you're safe and well. If you are new here, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Don't forget to give us a like as well. That gets the shilling out the way. Take it easy. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. Have fun flying. I will put some content out over the next couple of weeks, and I am going to then update you guys with the DJI stuff when I find out. That is it. Let's find the button. We're going to hit it once, as always. Hit once. Hit twice. Stay safe.